U.S. may struggle to stop all Iranian drones. That's how humanity's great disasters start. Spain PM. EU chief expresses bloc's full solidarity with Spain amid Trump threats. UN experts denounce unlawful U.S.-Israel attacks on Iran. Senior U.S. military officials have warned lawmakers that American forces may not be able to intercept every Iranian drone launched in retaliation for recent U.S. strikes. According to reports, the warning came during a classified briefing on Capitol Hill led by Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane. Officials said Iran has been deploying thousands of one-way attack drones, including Shahed drones, which fly low and slow and can sometimes evade conventional air defenses. While U.S. systems are capable of destroying most incoming drones, military leaders acknowledged that some could still slip through. The U.S. military is therefore focusing on targeting drone and missile launch sites in an effort to reduce the number of attacks. Officials also noted that defending against the drones has been costly. In the early days of the conflict, the United States reportedly spent about $2 billion per day on military operations, although that figure has since dropped to around $1 billion daily. Despite concerns over interceptor stockpiles, General Kane said the U.S. currently has sufficient precision munitions for both offensive and defensive operations. Meanwhile, the White House said the United States has more than enough weapons to sustain an extended conflict if necessary. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has strongly criticized the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran, saying his government's position is clear: no to war. Speaking on the current crisis, Sánchez said the Spanish people oppose what he described as a disaster and warned that military escalation would only worsen global instability. He compared the situation to the 2003 invasion of Iraq, arguing that the war ultimately made the world less secure. Sánchez also warned that a conflict with Iran would not create a more just international order or improve the lives of ordinary people. He added that the current crisis shows how major global disasters can begin and urged governments not to play Russian roulette with the destiny of millions. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to cut off trade with Spain after Madrid refused to allow American forces to use Spanish bases for operations linked to the strikes on Iran. European Council President Antonio Costa has expressed the European Union's support for Spain after threats from the United States. In a post on social media, Costa said he had spoken with Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez and reaffirmed the EU's full solidarity with Spain. He added that the European Union would ensure the interests of its member states are protected and reiterated the bloc's commitment to international law and the rules-based global order. The development comes after Sánchez strongly criticized the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran, saying Spain's position is no to war. Sánchez warned that a conflict with Iran could repeat the consequences of the 2003 Iraq War, which he said made the world less secure. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to cut off trade with Spain after Madrid refused to allow American forces to use Spanish bases for operations linked to the strikes on Iran. United Nations human rights experts have condemned the United States and Israel over their strikes on Iran, calling the attacks an unlawful act of aggression. In a statement, the experts said the strikes violate the UN Charter, particularly the prohibition on the use of force, as they were carried out without authorization from the UN Security Council and during ongoing diplomatic negotiations. They said the attacks undermine principles of sovereign equality, territorial integrity, and the peaceful settlement of disputes, and also violate the right to life. The experts warned that military action is not a solution to Iran's nuclear issue, and said such unilateral moves risk further destabilizing the region. They also condemned an attack on a primary school in the southern Iranian city of Manab, which reportedly killed more than 165 people, including at least 110 children. The statement further raised concerns over strikes on hospitals and humanitarian facilities, including Tehran's Gandhi Hospital and Khatam al-Anbiya Hospital, as well as sites linked to the Iranian Red Crescent. UN experts said targeting civilians, schools, and medical facilities constitutes a serious violation of international humanitarian and human rights law.